So you want to learn the heavy bowgun, huh? But you have no idea what it is or why it's good. In this guide, I'm going to be going over the heavy bowgun as well as all of the different ammo types, the properties of those ammo types, and general tactics you can use when you are shooting cats. To fire your bowgun, you just hit the primary attack, which is triangle on PlayStation, mouse 1 on PC, or Y on Xbox. And then to aim the bowgun, which is ideal so you can actually hit targets, you have to do alternate attack, which is circle, right click, or the B button on the Xbox. And as you fire, your ammo gets consumed and you can see it going down underneath the crosshair. And then once you empty, you can manually reload with R or just try to fire again and it will reload for you. And another thing to know is there are 3 ammo types that you always have infinite amounts of. The spread ammo, which is like a shotgun blast, that's good at close range. The pierce ammo, which actually does penetrate the target and can multi-hit based on how it penetrates the target. And then you have the normal ammo that fires a 3-round burst. Now, the differences between the ammos do matter, so it is good to know all these things. So I'm going to go over the basic ammo now. All right, so for normal ammo, you have a 3-round burst, and it has effective range of medium to semi-long range. So look at how the crosshair is orange, and then as I back up, it becomes dull. So if I shoot right now, I will deal reduced damage. And then as I move forward, and it's in the orange, I will deal increased damage. And as long as I'm in the orange, I will deal this increased damage. And then we have to reload to get our crosshair back. And then once you get closer, it does reduce damage as well. So it's good to know what your effective range is. So look at how bad the damage is at point blank on normal ammo. So if you are on normal ammo, you want to be far away. And there's a sweet spot to the weapon in the orange. And that is true for all the weapons, or for all the ammo types. And then for pierce ammo, this is the longest range of the 3. So it takes quite a bit of distance before it becomes orange. So also note the normal ammo becomes orange much sooner. So it's orange about here. And then if we go back to the pierce, it's orange a little bit farther back. But it maintains the orange further back than the base ammo. So if you are fighting something far away, the pierce ammo is the ammo to use. And also note it's a projectile with travel time. So you can kind of see it flying out there. So you can miss if the monster's moving quickly, you can miss, but look at how long it's orange for. And then on the opposite end of things, we have spread, which is terrible unless you're like point blank. Now this range, it's still effective at this range actually, so it is still like reasonably usable at like kind of medium-ish range, but typically you want to be around like here. And also it does fire like I think 6 pellets, so if you are not fully on target, some of those could not hit. But usually if you're like kind of on, most will hit. It's pretty reliable. But also one thing that's very important about the spread ammo is the closer you get, it also has bad damage at point blank. So if something is right on top of you and you're thinking you're gonna get like a big burst of damage, you're actually gonna get a big fistful of nothing. And there is something you can do to counteract this though. So another thing to know is that when you are close to the monster with spread ammo, you deal low damage, and the spread ammo also moves you back. So it does kind of help reposition you. But another thing that's very interesting about it is, this is true for all ammo, if you can shoot at a more distant part, you can get your damage back. So even though like right here, I'm in bad damage, if I aim at a different section of the monster that's farther away, I can get it into the orange. And also, this is very interesting with the spread ammo. So so pierce ammo, you can freely move around as you're using it, right? Like you can completely reposition. Same thing with normal ammo, so you can kind of slowly reposition, maybe grab a better angle, whatever you want to do. Spread ammo is unique in that when you shoot it, it pushes you back. But it pushes you back in a way that if you adjust your aim, you can change where you end up. So you can actually use spread ammo in a very interesting way. So like, let's say we hit a part we can actually like rotate around a monster. And obviously, as you fight certain monsters, you want to know like what parts are distant enough, because like right now we're in the bad damage range. But you want to find a part, and you can actually stay on top of things. You can actually get closer to the monster if you do a 180, and you will step into it, but you can rotate around it. So like if a monster is doing an attack that you're on the edge of, you can like rotate, and whatever orientation you're facing, you'll move in the opposite direction. So if I shoot and aim this way, I will move this way. Same if I shoot and aim this way, like 180, it'll actually move me closer to the monster, which could be useful to dodge certain attacks. So it's like a high skill repositioning tool that you always have access to, and it's unique to the spread. And another thing that's very important is if the monster isn't really moving and you want to keep your spread damage up, because spread does have the highest damage output of all of them from what I can tell, you can reposition like this to stay in the orange. Another hugely important thing for aiming is when you are not shooting, you are actually auto-guarding. So you essentially have a shield raise, but if I am shooting, the shooting interrupts the auto-guard. So auto-guard is just when you're aiming and you essentially have a shield raised. Now you can also manually guard with R plus F, which has a time window. Now you cannot perfect guard with auto guard. It would be cool if you could, but you can't. You have to hit R plus F to perfect guard. Like so. Perfect guard, baby! Another very important thing is ammo switching and ammo rotation. So when you are at close range, you typically want to use spread ammo. And then once you get out of close range and spread ammo is no longer effective, you can immediately just switch to normal ammo until you get into the range, the effective range of pierce ammo, which also needs reloaded. So you can kind of like dynamically change your weapons as needed, and also this will happen whether you want it to or not. The monster's going to be moving around, it's going to be dive bombing you, retreating from you, running around, doing crazy things. So depending on the range you are at, you should switch between your weapons. So at close range you want to use spread, at medium you want to use normal, and at far ranges you want to use pierce. So if the monster is kind of like kiting you, you can get some pokes off for free with pierce ammo, and then as you close distance gap, you can start to run normal ammo. Then you can switch down to spread as you get even closer. And you can always use the repositioning with spread to shoot while closing distance, especially if the monster is static, like if it's doing like some big charge up that you know you're out of range of, or if it's just kind of chilling out, or if it's stunned or something. Especially when it's stunned, if you're right on top of it, you want to have the spread ammo, and you want to be at like the sweet spot. You want to kind of just like do like 90-degree angles with your aim, to like kind of rotate and like stay the same distance away from it. You do not need to reload on the ground. You can call your mounted friend, and on the secret you can hit R to mount weapon draw, and then you can actually rotate through and start reloading on the secret. So like if you're under a lot of pressure and you want to reload all of your ammo types, you can do that, and then at any point in time while you are mounted on the secret and your weapon is mounted, you can actually rotate through your ammo and shoot at the bosses, shoot at the enemies. So you can grab like really weird positions, be highly mobile. You do deal less damage while doing this, but it can be very safe to do, especially if you need to like wait out some negative status conditions, or if you need to like heal or something, or just stay away from the monster during certain parts of its attack phase, or maybe it's like enraged or something. You want to just kind of be safe. So you can kind of do like, you know, pierce sniping and be kind of like a menace to monsters. And then of course you can switch to spread, kind of get in there. The nice thing about secret is it's like huge mobility. You can kind of just do whatever you want, especially if you grab like high ground. It can start to get pretty silly. Then the monster's chasing you around the map while you're shooting it. Now this is significantly less DPS, but it's safe as hell. So like if you want to just kind of do this, and all you have to do to resume going fast is just release aim. So like you aim to slow down and shoot, then just release aim to just continue going fast. You can reload. You can also do this in a party, like if you're playing with other players. You can also do it while chasing. So these are all considerations. Another interesting thing about the heavy bowgun is it does not need whetstone ever. It does not have durability. It does not break. You can just keep shooting it, and it consumes ammo, and the reload is really when it's on like cooldown, so to speak, but it doesn't like break and have sharpness and things like other weapons. Let's talk about some of the other ammo. So exhaust ammo takes so many shots to eventually exhaust the monster, which causes the monster to be stunned for a brief period, like so. And depending on the monster, and also depending on the monster's stamina, it might stun faster, it might stun slower. Monsters also build resistance to this effect, so typically once you stun them with your exhaust ammo, you're probably not going to be able to stun them again unless someone else has a ton of exhaust ammo with them, because they build up a resistance to it, as you can see here. So now it's taking almost potentially even double the shots to get it off. Now you only have 12 ammo of this, so generally you can get like one stun off, and then assuming that that resistance decays internally, you could probably switch back to it later on in the fight if it's an extended fight. But some monsters also are resistant to that effect, so be mindful of that. For other ammo, we have trank ammo that does nothing in combat, but if a monster is in a trap, you can capture it. And then of course we have the cluster bomb, which is really good. It's a mortar. The effective range is it doesn't matter. So you aim it manually, and what it does is there's travel time, and then it detonates and blows up. Now one thing that's interesting about it is you can use it at point blank. So if something is right on top of you and you just dodge an attack or something, you can fire off a few of them really quickly and then roll out of the way. You can also fire it relatively fast. So like if a monster's chilling out or knocked down, you can fire all three and get some big damage on it. Now you only have a very limited supply of this, but it's a pretty good tool for just getting burst off. And then flaming ammo. This is a really good ammo type. It has similar range to your basic normal fire, so it has kind of like semi-close to medium-ish range. It does really big damage and it pierces, so you typically want to hit like a vulnerable part of the monster, and it also does fire a projectile. So like here, I'll get farther away so you can see it. So you can see the projectile. So there's travel time, but it's pretty fast. So typically you want to be at like medium range. Now this you can carry about 60 of, which is quite nice. It's just big damage. It's also fire damage, so if you have effective, like if you have a monster that's weak to fire, this can be very effective in addition to dealing more damage than normal. Similar to the exhaust ammo, paralysis ammo doesn't really have a limited range, and it can apply a quick paralyze. And as you paralyze and stun lock monsters, they tend to build higher resistance to those effects. So if you want to paralyze it again, it'll probably take more shots. So it took 3 to paralyze. Now it took 4. So let's see what it takes after this. So it went from 3 to 4. Now you have 12 ammo with you, so it can be quite nice utility. Maybe the monster's going ham and you need to calm it down. So that was 4 shots. It resisted. 5, 6. So you can see the scaling there. That's still not bad though. You still are looking at around like 2 paralyzes per fight with paralysis ammo, especially if you're in a group. That can be useful for relieving pressure and just crowd controlling the monster. For the next ammo type, we have demon ammo. This is a really good utility ammo that increases your damage as well as the damage of anyone who enters the red cloud. Now the buff is around 5% damage increase, and you can switch weapons. So if you want to just run bowgun just for a 5% damage increase, you can do that, and it lasts 3 minutes. Now you can carry up to 3 on you, so as you're going on your hunt, you can refresh this periodically, especially when on your sacred. So you can just get on there, hit R to mount, or whatever it is on console, shoot this while you're chasing a monster. Maybe you want to refresh, you can heal, whetstone your main weapon, shoot that on your way, hit it on the way in, get the damage buff, and you'll have the damage buff for as long as you are red, and it tends to last for 3 minutes. For the other ammo types, we have thunder ammo, which is very similar to the fire ammo, the flame ammo. It does increased damage versus versus piercing ammo, and it has a kind of similar range to the basic attack, the normal ammo, and it is effective against things that are weak to thunder. So it doesn't really have any of the effects outside of that. It can get you damage scaling just by using it, but it can also get you more damage scaling if you are targeting weaknesses. And then we also have the poison ammo, which does low damage per hit, but after you get so many shots on the enemy, and depending on the enemy's resistances, eventually you will trigger a poison. Now I already triggered poison on this, so there it goes. Now I counted 20 ticks, and right now it's doing 15 damage a tick, which is 300 damage over time. Now this can be useful if the enemy monster is enraged, going crazy, you don't want to get next to it, you just want to put poison on it and then kind of like heal and reset. So this can kind of create an opportunity while the poison is ticking down. You need to heal, switch weapons, do something else to prepare for something else, or if you want to poison it as it's running away, because then you have to chase it anyways, to continue dealing damage even when you can't shoot or attack the monster. The recover ammo, similar to the demon ammo, can be shot in the ground and then you just touch it to heal. The nice thing about this is if you are on a boss fight that is particularly difficult and you expect to need a lot of extra healing, this can be nice utility. You can also use it to heal allies on your team if you're in a party, and they will probably love you for it. We also have sticky ammo, which sticks to whatever you shoot it on and then explodes. Headshots with sticky ammo stun, so it doubles as crowd control and decent damage. Now compared to a normal attack, and here's one of my favorites, the slicing ammo, which does an initial hit of low damage, then explodes. It can also sever tails. But look at that damage. It's very satisfying to use. And then of course we have freeze ammo, which is basically similar to thunder and flame ammo, except it can target frost weakness. And similar to those other ammo types, it has increased base damage relative to the piercing shot. And then finally, we have the armor ammo, which creates a cloud that if you roll through, improves your armor rating by 10% for at least 3 minutes. So before I rolled into the armor cloud, I had 185 defense, and it increased it to 205. So it allows you to tank a little bit better for a pretty good duration. You can also use this on your teammates if you're in a squad. Another hugely important thing about the heavy bowgun is certain bowguns have certain ammo. So for example, this particular bowgun has demon ammo as well as the exhaust ammo. And this other bowgun, instead of having demon ammo, actually has recover ammo. And instead of having the exhaust ammo, it has the much more effective paralysis ammo. There's an alternate mode you can switch to called ignition mode. Once you enter ignition mode, default F on PC, you will consume your charge bar. And the charge bar fills over time and from dealing damage, but when ignition mode is active, it does not fill. So right now we're in ignition mode and we're using one of the 2 ignition mode attacks, Wyvern Piercer Ignition. There is a separate one that you can alternately choose per each weapon. You can actually select it and it's like a minigun, but this one, the Piercer shoots a piercing shot that deals more damage the longer it penetrates a target. So you typically want to line this up long ways with targets, or so that it penetrates large parts of a monster so that it can continuously hit it and scale the damage. Now when you are in this mode, if you hit default R on PC or R2/RT on PlayStation and Xbox, you can enter one of 2 alternate modes. And this one is Wyvern Blast Ignition, which fires cluster bombs. The alternate is an offset attack that can be charged and timed. Once you are out of meter, you can hit the button that enters the stance and just switch off of it. You'll notice when you're on it, you'll have a huge thing attached to your bowgun, and then when you hit the same button to exit, it will be gone. And you can notice it's starting to fill up there, and then as we start shooting, we also build meter. Here is the minigun ignition mode. So we just enter the mode, ignition mode, with a meter filled. And then as you shoot, you deal continuously more damage, and you can just keep firing until it runs out. And then before we exit this, I'm going to show you the Wyvern counter. So in this case, I hit R, and what it does is you get into a low stance and you charge, and anytime you can release, and if you time it right, you can perform an offset attack with this weapon. Unique to the bowgun is the customize bowgun button under the equipment menu. This allows you to take any of your bowguns and modify it to your liking. So we can take our iron assault here, we can adjust the first mod as well as the second mod. Now each bowgun has different mods. Some bowguns have mods that give you more ammo capacity. Other bowguns have mods that upgrade the pierce ammo level or the normal ammo level and so on. So you kind of have like the magazine or the powder upgrades. And then for the second mod, it depends on the bowgun as well. Some can improve the standard shot damage. Some can improve the ignition shots damage. And then others can just improve the magazine. And then for the second set of mods, the equipped special ammo, this is where you choose the minigun or the piercing shot. So right now we're on Wyvern Piercer Ignition. We can change to Wyvern Heart Ignition, which is the minigun. And then if we want the offset attack, we can switch from Wyvern Blast Ignition to Wyvern Counter Ignition. And the counter kind of indicates that it's an offset attack, which can counter incoming enemy attacks. That is it for my basic heavy bowgun guide. There's a lot of information in there. Definitely let me know if I missed anything. I'm not really going into endgame weapons or builds or loadouts or anything like that yet. I feel like that's several other videos. So until then, that is it for this one. Thank you for checking us out. Peace.